Yes.
Okay, good morning and welcome to the September 18th regular meeting of the Chenango County IDA. We'll go ahead and roll call ourselves in.
Zero here. Ryan here.
Woodford here.
Burton here. I will read the IDA mission statement. It is the mission of the Chenango County Industrial Development Agency to advance the health, prosperity, and welfare of county citizens by helping to retain, create, and attract businesses through appropriate investments and incentives. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting. Need a motion to approve the August 21st minutes?
So moved.
Need a
Second.
thank you. Any discussion, omissions, or corrections? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Zeno, I. Ryan, I.
Woodford aye.
Burton, aye. Financial report, please let the record show that Mike Corey is here.
He's late.
Only by a minute.
Norris time is fine.
Is Kathy Joe here?
No, she's not. She told us she wasn't gonna be here. There's financials are fairly straightforward, but I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary on that.
All right, I can give a quick review of the financials. Looks like our assets are up about $40,000, just shy of. Liabilities are down 20,000. Difference right now between 2023 and 2024, to the good, about 38,000. I don't see any glaring numbers in there that are weird or
There's not.
crazy. Aged receivables, looks like most of these are pilot billings, and utility reimbursement by Everything Bakerly. That one looks like it's getting a little old.
I'll call them.
Yeah, and it's small, but
I'll call them.
it's beyond 60.
John, we can take that as an action. I think we need to call, everything they would track that down, please.
Call who, excuse me?
Everything
Everything
Bakerly.
Bakerly. Matthias is the guy's name. Well, give me a contact from, I'll call him today, but I agree, please.
Aged payables, all three of those items are in today's packet. Statement of activities. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Rents received. Looks like we're pretty much on pace for budget, which is good. Looks like we had interest income of $4,500 from that Intrify account. And,
Brian, just
Yes, ma'am.
one quick question.
yeah, please.
The 5 Walnut Street, Bainbridge.
Yep.
That figure, refresh my memory. What is going on with the maintenance of the last item on the
Got it, thanks.
activities?
Yeah, so we had maintenance, let's see, there's a note, let's see what the note
That's
says.
what I was looking for.
Oh,
There it is. Okay.
yep,
Reimbursement,
Taxes.
fuel, okay.
the check's actually in the packet as well.
Okay.
It's one of the
All right.
checks we're approving.
All right.
Yep.
very good.
She prepared all the checks before she went.
And then I guess a big one, a new one to the statement of activities is the purchase of 23 East Main Street, which is the old Preferred Mutual building. We did not obviously budget for that, so that is over budget by 15,000, which is basically the initial check for holding the building. So,
I'll give you an update on that, Brian, at the executive session as well.
okay. Any other questions on the financial report at this point? Hearing none, need a motion to accept the financial report?
Corey. Second.
First by Corey, second by Woodford. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye.
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Bert and I. Great. Bills and invoices, I'll send these around. As we talked about just a minute ago, there is a check in here for Bainbridge Central school taxes on Walnut Ave. Everything else kind of looks normal. You will notice it's not cheap to put in public hearing notices to the Evening Sun, obviously. And we're doing more and more, but that's what the administrative fees are for when we do a pilot, right? Is to cover those kinds of things. And then, of course, we're going back and forth with the railroad and our attorneys at this point. So we had some expenses to bond Shank and King on that.
I'll have an update on that, Brian, that was not included in the executive director report, but we had a meeting yesterday, so I'll include that as well.
Great. So I need a motion to accept the bills and invoices.
So
Second.
Okay, first by Ryan, second by Woodford. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye.
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Bert and I. Great. On to old business. Norge Meadows Farm purchase of Earl B. Clark.
30 seconds. We're waiting for their attorneys to get back to us with the final paperwork. Everything we've done is in place. We're almost done with that, so.
Make sure we include that tax bill in that,
Okay.
or reimbursement for it.
Get a reimbursement.
Right. Because normally, so if I paid my school taxes today.
Yeah.
And I sold my house tomorrow. The buyer would reimburse me on a per deal.
Yeah.
For those school taxes, but just make sure that's in there.
We will, John, can you make sure, take that as an action item for me to make sure we speak to our attorneys.
Because we probably have to send that out pretty quick, right?
We probably have paid it already.
I have the tax bill.
Yeah, I know, we haven't paid it yet though, right? Okay, yeah.
No, because Kathy Jo said that we never paid it before, so.
We'll follow up with
That might be
Kathy.
why it says North Meadow Farms on it as well. So I'd get that to them.
I sent it to her.
Okay, good. Thanks, Sal, for that update. Everybody knows we're selling the rest of the property. Yeah. Good. All right, pilot updates.
Do them in reverse order because we have a person here from Norbit.
Okay.
And again, I believe Victor is on from representing Norbit Solar. We have it. Hi, Victor, how are you?
Good morning, very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you as well. And so normally, I know you had asked us to give you a resolution, an inducement resolution to move forward and then schedule some public hearings. Unfortunately, Victor, there's some questions that we have, so we're not going to be able to sign or make that vote today because we have some questions on the taxation for the property. When we try to estimate the benefits so we can bring that to the IDA for a vote, we utilize the taxes that were included in your application, and the total tax number doesn't equal the three subsets of school, village, and county. And so we weren't sure. Tyler Oliver, who's in our office, and we're working on this, trying to do that. We're trying to look it up, and the tax map ID doesn't coincide with the property. So we're just having some confusion on the application, and it's just because we're up against the deadline, essentially getting it in last week, but then getting it finalized yesterday. We didn't wait for the signed copy. He's been working on it since we got it when he started last week, but we're not going to be able to vote on that inducement resolution today. I just wanted you to be aware if there's any other, Tyler, discrepancies in that application, we should bring them up now. We found all these out last night as we were preparing for this meeting. Victor, as I got ready to advise the IDA as to our position on that resolution, Tyler pointed out he couldn't figure out the tax benefits because the numbers didn't coincide with the three subtotals. So from there, I said, okay, it's 4:00. We're not going to take it off the schedule for tomorrow. Victor's coming. We'll ask these questions live and in person, and we'll put you on the calendar again for next month.
Okay, we can certainly have our accounting team take a look at that. I imagine it's just a calculation error. But with respect to the tax map ID numbers, I know we got new tax ID numbers from the county, and then we also we're in the process of getting lease parcel numbers. So I'm not sure if possibly the publicly available GIS data for the tax map ID number doesn't reflect that at this point. But is that something that maybe Barbara could send specific specific discrepancies over?
Tyler will connect with you after this meeting, Victor, so that you can go through that together. We'll refine the application. They just can't vote on it, but we can't vote on an inducement resolution until everything in that is accurate. So even theoretically, if we thought we should go forward with this, we gotta wait till next month.
Right, okay, and just to reconfirm, and I know that maybe we've touched on this once or twice, but, so if we were to vote on the inducement resolution and then, we would schedule the public hearing at the October meeting, and that public hearing would likely take place before the November meeting, where a final, vote could be considered, assuming nothing comes up.
We'll start the preparation for the public notices, and if the IDA votes to approve the inducement resolution, we'll send those notifications to the paper and publish them on our website that day. Because we have to give a certain amount of time, I think it's 2 weeks' notice, so we'll give the appropriate notice, and, yes, that will be our intent.
Okay, and then I just have one more quick point to bring up with the board. We recently got, a few weeks ago, our decommissioning agreements approved at the town. And they requested that we just ask the IDA if that is something that's just generally addressed as part of the process, or that's something that you have to see, or what role the IDA plays in the decommissioning agreement.
Yes, the answer to that is yes, all of that. We would love to have that with the application. We do require decommissioning expenses to be built in, whether it be an insurance policy, a bond. Basically, we need it binded in how you are going to cover those decommissioning costs and a value. I don't know if your decommissioning agreement had a value in there. We've gotten them before without a value, and I will tell you that it slowed down the approval of the pilot by months because the company would not give us a value on the decommissioning agreement. They basically just said that it was bonded for 20% above the cost. Don't know what that was, right? So all we were looking for is a number, and they wouldn't give us one for some reason. So please include that. And we know that that's probably based upon a projection, and that's why the 20% increase was built in, because you're probably talking many, many years down the road. But make sure there's a number in that, because it will hold up.
Absolutely, yeah, I can assure the board that there's a number in there. I've actually never heard of agreements without one, so that's interesting.
Tyler, our UTEP policy will have that whole decommissioning requirement in it. So when you talk to Victor, you can walk through it. It'd be good for you and John to learn that too.
Okay, fantastic, and I'll send copies of those along as well once we sort out any of the discrepancies in the application.
Yeah, it just strengthens the application if we have that ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Big point of contention within our municipalities was decommissioning. So, thank you.
Thank you. So
Thanks.
I'll just wait to hear from Barbara or you, Seth, if that's good. Thank you.
Tyler Oliver will reach out to you directly from our office, and you'll hear from him by the end of today or tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet. Have a great day.
You as well. Bye.
Mike Corey, I know you haven't met Tyler Oliver yet. Tyler Oliver is our new economic development director. He started the year
Nice to meet you.
as town supervisor in Smyrna, as well as local business person. Okay, and solar, Brian, the feedback on that is there's a packet in front of you all that has written feedback as well as Bob did a good job of summarizing the feedback from the people that were in attendance. And I'll try to give you a thumbnail of that to the best that I can. Everybody in attendance was against the pilot. The only person who spoke for the program itself was Phil Wade. So he's for the program, but against the pilot. Every other person, and there was a great deal of confusion about the IDA's role because they think that there was a great deal of time spent, you'll see in the written and spoken statements about the aesthetics and about the impact on the environment and their village and their businesses in the middle of town. And I tried to articulate clearly that our role was to vote on the tax abatement, not on the aesthetics, and that the town and the villages that were the ones that would approve whatever zoning requirements, aesthetics. There was a lot of talk about NICEAG and their ability to handle that in the substation, and a lot of talk about a few comments about this not meeting our mission statement, that it doesn't create local jobs, the money doesn't stay local, the tax breaks are pretty big. That was the feedback from the public hearing. There's the idea, I think, this is the IDA's idea. So there was the impression, you'll see that. If you watch the video, there was, why is the IDA doing this? Because they think this is, like, there's just a misunderstanding of our role. And so, I don't know yet if we want to vote on that or not. I know that, there was a representative there from the railroad. Obviously, he tried to answer them at the end of the meeting. A lot of people had left by then. But you can take your time, read the statements, but I don't know how, we discussed whether or not we would vote on this at this time, at this meeting. We thought we might, after the second public hearing. We didn't feel prepared to do that the first one.
I want some time to chew on it. Does everybody else feel comfortable not voting today and getting some time to digest what's in those comments? I would encourage each of you to go back and watch the video.
Both of them.
Both of them,
Are on the website.
Please.
just so that you can get a feel for, I don't want to curb anybody's thinking. So, but I want you to get a feel of what the public, I feel, is truly against in this situation. So,
Which
Can I ask you
are
a question?
things that are not connected to our role.
Say that again, Mark?
The arguments presented are not really connected to our role. It's really not understanding what our role is.
They do both. They do both. You should read it. I don't want to cloud your
Oh, I
judgment,
will,
right?
yeah.
But they use the tax as a lever to talk about other things. But Brian, this is my question, because I understand this, right? I went to the IDA Academy. The IDA's role is to make hard decisions because elected officials, it's difficult for them to do that, right? It was established in the 70s so that you could try to attract businesses here because elected officials are at the mercy of constituents, the vocal minority, right, Shane? So that's but my question is then, would it be appropriate for us to sit with Dolores and Phil and have a conversation on this and say, hey, we really do need to know, does the town and the village and the school want this? They're the three parties, right? Get them together, the county, the school, and the village, and say, you guys, is this something that you're for?
so the schools express their opinion. They just want a higher megawatt per clause. They said, they had their attorney. They want more transparency when it comes to these things, which, the state keeps getting involved in anyways, and we have to send them everything ahead of time. They just want to be able to find it easier.
Okay.
That's
And
all.
so as
And
long as they're supportive of it, then our megawatt policies, again, part of our UTAP. Right?
Sure.
We have, so our part of, so we understand
then
exactly.
it's always reviewed, constantly reviewed.
Right, we get that from Steve Harris based upon, what's appropriate based upon the megawatts, average counties.
Yep.
So their input on what it should be, I appreciate that, but does that mean they don't want us to do it if it doesn't, or they want us to do it at the lower amount?
No, I think there was a recommendation from them, is to take a look at that.
At the price?
Based upon the megawatt speed, the charge per megawatt around us, right?
John, will you take that as an action item for me to follow up with Steve Harris to ensure that our town will follow up as well? What that is, before we were charging, I don't want to say arbitrary, not inconsistent amounts for solar megawatts per generated. Now we try to standardize that based upon other counties in the area, the southern tier, so that we're competitive.
And
But I don't.
Steve Harris's recommendation.
Yeah, and the county's recommendations, so, because again,
But again, that's something we would look at in another year or so.
I'll find out.
Right, so
I'll find out.
it's something we should continuously review.
so that's separate from that, I will find out, because that will inform that question as to whether or not that should be more or less to go back to the company. Does that mean we should not, do you want it? I guess the town has approved it.
I mean,
I can speak to the town, Dolores is for it, she's just not gonna stand up and say it. She's for the bond. She wants this project to go through, it's additional tax
I
revenue.
don't think your board would have done all the work
I agree with you.
if they weren't in favor of
I
it.
sat right next to her
At some
yesterday,
level.
Ryan, I went to that chamber meeting specifically, because I know she and Phil go, and she again said she was disappointed that Phil didn't stand up and talk about the role. She said she was sick, so that's it.
I don't know if bringing to them, of course, for transparency reasons, all that good stuff, if they want to meet, then I think we should, but I think we have to be ready to vote at the next meeting, period. And get that off our table, get it off their table, so that they know what they can do and what their next steps are. But at this point, I think we have to continue to move forward. If they want to meet, I guess I would get their opinion on it.
Then there's an action item for me to reach out to the school, the village, and the county.
And they may express to you right over the phone or whatever, we're good. Yes,
I'll
we're
reach
okay
out,
with
I'll
this.
get their input.
And if 2 out of 3 do that, I don't think it's worth it.
You don't have to reach out to Phil, his detailed written statement.
Yeah.
So I just gotta reach out to Dolores and to Tim.
Tim, yeah.
I got them both. Tim was there yesterday too.
Good. So please review, do go look at.
I think you should, the
videos.
people who turned in the written
Find them on
statements.
YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, can you send the
I
link,
don't know
John, can you send the links to the videos via email to each board member, please?
Yes,
And Brian, one observation on the cost per megawatt. I mean, we were proactive into seeking advice on how to structure something that was more standard. I would feel uncomfortable having to review this every time they come to the table.
Sure, but like I said, this out, you know,
Maybe
it's something we
another
probably need to
review.
review every couple of years or once a
Yeah.
year with Steve Harris.
I'll go see him.
It's a far cry, it's
It's good for us.
$2,500 a year ago, whatever we were charging.
That's
you know?
okay.
So,
But
yeah,
I would rather that we are the one in the driver's seat,
Yeah.
not reacting, because that took effort on your part, and I respect that time we spent on that.
I agree, we did our due diligence, we called in the right people, but it's something we need to continuously review, right?
The people who turned in those written statements, I think you take me for that, they were very hopeful that people would take the time to read it. So we'll send them to Stan and we'll send them to Pete. We'll tell them that we are gonna vote at the next meeting definitively. I'll reach out to the 3 constituents just to make sure they don't wanna have one more conversation with us at that meeting. But then I'm gonna tell them we're gonna vote.
Good.
Okay.
Any other? Hearing nothing, we'll move on. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate you running the meeting.
Well, I knew you weren't gonna, that was not a fun one. That was Tyler's first one, and it was not a fun one. They were bad. You know, because I couldn't answer questions, that's what they were.
That's the big thing. I know.
And everybody was waiting on the sidewalk when we came out, and I was like literally, I had parked my car on the street, so I didn't have to go back to any parking lot. I mean, everybody went left and I went right. I was like, because they were all standing out.
Our job is talking that, right? Because we want to.
I felt terrible. I
We want
really
to
did.
Provide them what answers to their questions. We just can't.
Oh God, you asked me what time it is, I want to put a little watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't help it.
Good. All right, preferred building remodeling.
I got the cost back from the O'Reillys, it's $425,000. Now, I haven't gone through it in great detail to find out exactly what we need to do there. It involves taking out the floor and great detail. I just got it, Brian. I haven't had a lot of time to spend with it. We still haven't closed on that yet. We're waiting for some things from Kevin Cole, but that's moving forward. I would expect that we would close on that sometime in October. Again, some stuff's gonna have to be done before we move in there, but not a major, you guys know it, we can live upstairs if we have to while we do it, you know what I mean, Brian, there's ways around this. If I was gonna do it and do it over time, I would move out of here, my advice would be to move out of here, move into the upstairs. And I know it's a pain in the rear end, but it's all set up, it's perfectly, but, because we're gonna have to do some remodels, we could be in the building while the remodels are going on, right? We don't have to be here, rent for 4 months, give Chris the 90 days, get things prepped as much as possible, try to start out with the minimum amount of investment that we need to move forward. I think it includes things like the air conditioners upstairs. Every couple of years, we put those in there, Brian. We don't have to start with those things. We don't have to do every single aesthetic thing to every single room in the building either, right? I'd like to proceed very judiciously in this. And I'm not sure yet what that is until I have more time.
My assumption is in that, so there's one thing we need to concentrate on in the beginning is your space, right? Is the chamber space.
Right.
Everything else can be a phased section of it, right? And we can look I'm sure it was a wish list remodel, right? So,
It is, exactly.
so we can look at that and be like, we really don't need this. Maybe
Yeah.
down the road at some point, but we don't need this for what we want to do with the building, so.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I want to sit and talk about too, because I'm gonna walk the building with Mike O'Reilly. I have, with that in my hand then, I try to set some time up with the O'Reillys to walk through and say, okay, what's a need to do, what's a nice to do, and what sequence should I do it to make the most sense economic. Some things, if you have to redo them again, you're better off just doing it all at one time. So I don't want to do anything that I have to take apart. So I just don't have advice for you yet, Ryan. It was more than I expected, frankly.
Is it a long packet?
No, it's not too long.
Is it something that you think we could go through page by page during a meeting and not force a meeting to be 2 or 3 hours?
Yes,
Okay.
100%. That's why I'd like to go through it with some
Would you
detail.
guys like to do that in the next meeting?
Yeah.
Can I ask you what,
So keep the agenda items.
are you able to identify your number one priority in the building?
Getting us in there, Mike, where we have.
No, I mean in
dialogue.
terms of improvements.
Oh, I think it's.
Is there a
Yeah,
priority
the back
to
room,
layering
the
in
back
the-
room where everybody will go, so when you walked in there, they had to raise the floor because there was air conditioning. Floor and air conditioning, because they had all the servers were in there. So getting that inhabitable for our team is the most important thing. That back room right there, getting that set up with our offices, there's no windows in there, that's a nice to have, we can do that. There was windows there, they blocked them over before, I get it, we can do all those things in stages, but I'd like to get us in there, get that floor out, it's dark in there, it really is kind of nasty, to be honest with you. So I want to that's my number one priority. A presentable place for our employees that they're proud of to come to work, and that you all feel good about coming in there to have our meetings and stuff like that. That's the number one thing. Everything else is
It's basically the first floor of the right side.
first floor on the right side, right?
Yeah.
And given that some of the work is first floor and it is public space, you want to be cognizant of that some renovations may not work very well while it's inhabited.
That's what I say, I want to know, can we go upstairs? Can we go upstairs and that's beautiful, right? Can we temporarily sit upstairs and not, because none of this is gonna go with us. I mean, very little of our furniture will go, because they're giving it to us. So I can literally, I can go to an office over there, nicer than my office right now, nicer desk, nicer chairs, nicer everything. Right? So I mean, we can go in that upstairs tomorrow, and we can take our time and do everything we want to, right? Also gives me some time to think, we'll go and do that upstairs. Can I talk to people about, while people are in there, is that a place to talk to BOCES about for some continuing ed? I know that Jason Lawrence had expressed some interest when he picked up, and Jen Wright, when they picked up some equipment over there, right? So different things I want to consider as we go in there. But I just want to take our time with it, that's all.
Well, and we need to think about maintenance schedule too. We've had that conversation when we were touring and, I talked to Eric Scribner. There are some incentives for HVAC, heating and HVAC that he feels that we would potentially qualify for. So, discussing that, things of that nature, so.
Yep, and I think so we're moving from, what I want to do, I want to spend some time between now and then with Michael O'Reilly and Dan walking, getting a prioritization, and then understanding what's a have to do to get that habitable. And then I want to find out how feasible would it be for them to come upstairs? Do we think that adds any problems to their renovations? I don't think it does at all. And then what I'll do is be prepared to come in here, maybe even with them, to walk through the prioritization this next week. And they'll be able to answer questions.
So just make sure next month's agenda, we keep it to the business that we have to vote on in that presentation of
Okay.
that project plan.
And Sam, have we created a conceptual floor plan?
Yes, we laid it all.
Any chance that those could be shared ahead of time?
Yes,
So
I'll
we
send-
have
I'll
kind of
send it
an
back.
idea.
I'll send it back.
Yeah, and then we can have a full-on
Yeah, I'll send it to
discussion
the
about
IDA, and then I'll walk it through, I'll send it to everybody on the IDA.
This is smart.
it. It's an important project for us at this point in time, right? Because we are the landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's really exciting, and Preferred's very pleased with it. There was some concern because the story came in a bit before they notified their employees. They thought I had made an announcement, and I'm like, we're covered by the newspaper, it was not an announcement. So, but other than that, it's gone pretty smooth. A few comments on social media about taking it off the tax rolls, blah, blah, blah.
So if people talk to you about that, that's not our plan forever, right? We don't want it to be off the tax roll forever. We want to find for-profit businesses to go in there and grow, and they'd be responsible for their portion. And I did have that conversation with Eric Scribner, because I wasn't sure how that worked, right? So part of it's still gonna be a profit, potentially 25% of the building or 33% of the building. how are the taxes calculated on the 75%?
They do it for this building for us right next door.
I just didn't understand the process, and they break it down into percentages.
They do. Shelley was very reasonable.
Yeah.
She was very reasonable.
Because I do want to get taxes being paid out of that building as quickly as possible. I think we all do, right?
Probably very similar to the incubator that we.
That's be the beauty of it. You can get a couple of businesses up and running in there,
Yeah.
and then so the IDA charges them rent, nominal amount, because we're, just like we do over here, the DCC charges a nominal amount. That building is on the taxes for 50%, because she takes up half the space. And so literally, if we could get 2 or 3 businesses in there to fill it, they take up a third of the building upstairs, right? We got 2/3 downstairs, you say, okay, and then if those businesses could populate some of these little storefronts, that's the idea.
Yeah, to grow, right? Grow.
And
Also
so,
it creates foot traffic downtown. There's more sales tax going into downtown. Things of that nature, right? So.
I'm gonna give you two more real estate conversations in this executive update. I'm about to list this building next door again. And we've tried to sell it through all the DCC's real property disposal processes. And I'm gonna literally put it on the market again. It was on the market when I started here, we lowered the price, and then come to find out, and talking to our attorneys, and we got into the real property distribution, can't do it that way. We gotta do a public bid, so on and so forth. Nobody bid on it. I don't know if the IDA has any interest in it. I truly believe with all my heart, and I've talked to developers around here, maybe I'm crazy, but that building is gonna get sold for less than $200,000. Yeah, the DCC owes $125 on it. They valued it at 300 because they put 180 into renovation. So, but it's not worth what you put into it, it's worth what somebody else will pay for, right? So in the long run, that building is gonna be connected to the parking lot in the back where hopefully American Avenue is going to be developed as part of the DRI, has a storefront in the front. I believe there's something there. I talked to Julie Borden. She's coming in Friday. Could she put some type of, Julie Borden's an artist that started Colorscape. She's got a business down, world famous. She does instruments. She's got paints instruments and from famous artists as well as famous musicians. And could she open a studio back in her hometown with that baby? Is there an incubator? It was supposed to be an incubator, except that's not really the DCC's role, to be honest with you. It's the IDA's role. Things were just a little confusing whenever they bought that building. I don't know if the IDA has any interest in that building, but there's something there. Our entrepreneurs in Norwich are tapped out. You want to give Adam Spence another building? I mean, the O'Reillys are working hard to try to get this building, and they're going to develop and get other buildings going. So we've all had a bite at the apple. The Hazes are right next door. They got 4 projects going on
I
right
guess my
here.
first question would be, why does the current tenant not want to own the building?
She just doesn't have any, I've given her every opportunity, but every opportunity. First choice, second choice, third choice would be Kate. My 5th choice would be somebody to buy, let Kate stand there and be an anchor for something else that might work, something else that would draw traffic. Originally, it was gonna be a chamber.
For a long discussion, I think that we should be bringing some ideas of what.
Before I listed with a realtor, I wanted to come to the IDA. Could the IDA take that building and try to really, but I'm not doing anything with it because it's not part of the DCC's mission statement to own real estate. So
Let's set up that for a moment. I'd like to pound it out.
okay, so that's why I wanted to bring it out to you guys. Before we just liquidate that building, and it'll be liquidated.
And since it would be contract negotiations,
Yeah.
I think we should go into executive session.
And I mean,
I'm sorry.
maybe down the road, we may be looking at executive session, but I think for today's purposes, let's just defer it for a little bit. I'd like to come to that.
Okay, I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, that's all, to see if there was anything you wanted to consider with that building, that's all.
You okay with that?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, because I think some of these ideas are gonna talk about dollar amounts and things of that nature.
Okay.
So I think we need to ponder it a little bit, think about where we are with it, and then in executive session, we can have a frank conversation when it comes to numbers
In alternatives.
and alternatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, and then the last one is on the railroad, and this one I need some help on. So we got the tax bills from everybody, and, God bless Steve, and he was on top of this, and he knew that the pilot expired in March, but the lease expired in August. We all, including the railroad, operated under the idea that their pilot expired in August as well. And so we were all working diligently to try to get that pilot extended. Well, when March came, they got a tax bill, and he grieved it, he being Nathan Fenna, and it was rejected. And so now, he's on the hook for taxes that are significant that the IDA had to pay him. And his point when he grieved it was, I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars on property that's really not valued. It's valued it was when it was a running railroad, not as what it is right now. And he's asked me to go to Steve Harris and Jeff, and to go to Bill and say, hey, there should be, it's not even, they're getting the full, so now the pilot's back in place again. And it's not like he's getting the tax bill even for March, April, May, June, he's getting it for the full year. And so we tried to get that pilot done this year, and it's a pretty, I would imagine a pretty significant burden. And we can say whatever we want to, but the railroad's been operating that thing, it has to be at a loss, even with the grant that they got, trying to do whatever repairs they got, because there's no traffic going on. I don't know what the right thing to do is, right, in air quotes, I'm not sure, but I'm unquote, I'm not sure. It does not feel right. I got the tax bills, Barb, we can total them up, but if I ran the rough math, it's tens of thousands of dollars, rapidly approaching $100,000.
So, no, it's about 30,000.
Is it, Brian, are you
Yeah,
sure?
It was 33,000 and change, and then I discovered two of the
Yeah.
tax bills, in those
Okay,
tax
thank
bills
you,
were
thank
ours.
you, you're right.
That's tax bills right here.
Yeah, so it's school taxes. Obviously, school taxes have been billed out at this point, right? I do not think, Bill, however, that now that I'm thinking about it, Norwich school tax bill won't be in there yet, because they don't come out till the end of September, right? Because you don't start paying Norwich school tax until October. So that'll be another few thousand, I'm sure. But I guess my question, we pushed this to the attorney, the attorney's response was, send it to Nathan. Nathan pushed back and said, this is what I was afraid of. I knew this would happen. We need to get on a conversation with Sal, the attorney, about this. So the pilot's been reapproved at this point, right? Everything's all good. However, these tax bills came out prior to the approval of the pilot, which was approved in August, correct, fully? So technically, the pilot was approved before the new tax year. So I don't know, I don't know enough about tax law in that sense to,
Yeah, in essentially the taxable status date is set March 1st every year. So I don't know if down the road they would be on the hook for town and county as well. But those are questions for Steve.
I think they will be, but that's why I thought it was, Nathan thinks it's gonna be hundreds, because he thinks this is just the tip of the iceberg.
so now when you put the property tax.
That's what he said.
Sure.
That's what he said.
Sure.
So that's what he's, and that's,
not
that,
only- yeah.
and that doesn't feel right. I mean, it doesn't feel right to me. Like, if the IDA was paying these bills, I'd be going to Steve and begging him for forgiveness. I mean, I'd be going, because I'd be saying, hey, listen, there's no revenue going down here. Is this truly worth what we're saying it is? And I can tell you, it can be done, because Shelley Harris gave us a bill over here for $13,000. And I said, his wife, I said, Shelley, listen, come on, half that building is an incubator. We were supposed to be trying to get that person off the ground and on her own. She won't. Please don't stick me with the full bill. I'm charging $1,000 a month rent for something. I'm upside down. I'm losing money. She was fair. She said, okay, well, half that building you're getting rent out. The other half is the bookstore. The other half. So I'm sorry, Shelley, you got to pay half. Okay, I get it. But this just, I don't know what the word fair is always an interpretation. This just doesn't feel right.
So I think we need to exhaust all options before we make a decision. So
Yes.
obviously, the elephant in the room is who pays, right? So the railroad, if you're a landlord, Martha, right? If your tenant refused to pay property taxes or school taxes, who's responsible? He who's on the deed, right? So,
The railroad's responsible. Our attorneys have said that. Nathan's not arguing. That's really not the point. His point has not been, will the IDA pay it? His point has been, will Steve Harris give us a break? Because the
so I think
intention
we
was to
exhaust
extend
all
this.
options.
Yeah, I gotta go talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to him, see what he says.
Good.
Is there anything we could do? So I just want you guys to know that. It was a tough conversation yesterday, and Nathan was not, it wasn't like, he wasn't being anything difficult. He was just saying, our intention was to extend. Nobody realized this, guys. Right? We didn't realize this until we first started to extend the pilot, right? In
Well,
January.
there was a lot of confusion
It was
on what that
confusion.
date was. It was back and forth. The attorneys told us one day,
Right.
that, you know, there was
So it wasn't like
amendments and things like that, so there was numerous dates out there, that caused a lot of confusion in how you read it as well, so.
I'll talk to Steve, but I really don't think there's anything that IDA can do other than talk to Steve. Talk to Bill Crane and say, is there anything we can do? Is there any precedent for this? Because, you know, and again, he missed his window to sue him because he thought he had the power to. Otherwise, Nathan Fennell could have sued him. And so, ultimately, he doesn't know what to do.
Okay.
I'm trying to help him. What's that?
Yeah, and, I mean, real property taxation essentially is a function of the local assessor, et cetera, but again, Steve knows that process and the inner workings much better than the average bear, so. I'm not sure if Bill Crane can help, but.
I will see Steve then.
Okay, Steve certainly will do the quest.
I will. Yeah, because I think he is the local assessor for a lot of these municipalities that kind of,
Not in Chenango.
okay. Okay,
Well, it's not
makes sense.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Any other questions on that? Comments? No? All right. We have no need to go into executive session as far as I'm aware, unless anybody's got anything?
No.
No? Good. Need a motion to adjourn. Need a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Corey, aye.
Ryan, I.
Sure.
Bert, aye. Thank you, everybody.
Have a wonderful
day.
Yeah, you want to, I'll get down there at 12:44 about me, but